Silverhunt, Raven, Mace, High Noon. Long ago, the four kingdoms lived in peace, but everything changed when King Danny attacked. I took over the world. Yeah, basically this is part 2 of my Minecraft Kingdom Worlds with friends, so if you haven't seen the first video, I would recommend watching that one first. If not, let's get into it. The first age of Everworld was over and it ended with me taking over the world. But now we were starting on a brand new world. Of course, these were still the good old days, so we were still playing Minecraft on the Xbox 360, which meant the worlds were still really small. It would take you like max a couple of minutes to walk from one end of the world to another, but it felt really big at the time, and we made do building multiple kingdoms in this tiny world. Except this time, we had new players in the ring. Of course, we had the Kingdom of Silverhunt, led by King Danny, me, and the victors from the last World War. I'd conquered one continent, I'm on the second one now. There was the Kingdom of Raven, once again led by my friend King Ryan. The Kingdom of High Noon makes return, led by King Chad, who is somehow resurrected after being publicly murdered. I have no idea how he's back to life. That's not explained in the lore. And brand new to the Kingdom's world, the Kingdom of the Frost Realms, up in the very most northern part, very snowy area, led by King Aiden, or as he was better known as, Lord Grim. So once again, there was 4 kingdoms, except this time there was even more people inside of this world. King Danny now had his first civilian ever in his land, a man named Austin, which brings up Silverhunt's population to a whopping 2 people. Damn. The Frost Realms, again, led by Lord Grim, also had 2 people. Helpful friend and loyal servant to Lord Grim was a boy named Gage. There was also our friend named Aaron, who was a dude who didn't really have a kingdom. He just kind of vibed on the world, wanted to build a big house and kind of make peace and bake cookies with everyone. He didn't really do that much. Once again, everyone just kind of vibed in peace and harmony again. There was the trading of resources, the building of friendships. There was prosperity. But alas, as the kingdoms began to build up once again, the first signs of trouble had arose. During a regular trade of diamonds and other resources between Lord Grim and King Danny, tensions kind of got high there. Sexual tensions. Whew. Lord Grim fucking murdered my dog, Mr. Cuddly Monkey. I don't even remember why. I guess there was a disagreement in the trading, but yeah, he murdered my dog. Rest in peace, Mr. Cuddly Monkey. You were somehow the first casualty of the second age of Everworld. It was on that day I learned Lord Grim is a sick man and definitely my enemy. The two squared off and drew swords and began to fight, but they were both pretty underpowered at the time, me and Lord Grim, so we decided it was in both our best interests to not fight right now. The world was still too new to start a new war over. Lord Grim and I decided to form a truce, for the time being at least, where we would not fight for at least a good chunk of time. But I warned Lord Grim that my ambitions from the first world hadn't changed. Although Lord Grim was new to the Kingdom's world, I told him that one day I would begin my conquest to conquer the entire world yet again. One day I'd have to break the truce we had just made to eventually avenge Mr. Cuddly Monkey and conquer the world, but also to avenge Mr. Cuddly Monkey. See, I wasn't satisfied with being a peaceful kingdom again. I'd conquered the world once. I got a taste for war, and I wanted it again. The world would be mine yet again, all the kingdoms under one ruler. And there was foreshadowing that I was gonna try this again. I was gonna pull the same shit yet again and start another war. Realizing I was batshit insane, the people of the world decided to band together and build the United Nations, myself included, so that we could talk about politics and problems instead of just going to war about them. For now, at least. We all met up and built a very cool and sexy building together, and it was kind of a monument to our friendship in the world before things would go south, and we would meet up there to discuss all matters of life, including rules of war, what was allowed, what was a big no-no, and killing anyone inside of the UN was considered the highest no-no. It was a safe place. Some real-life months had passed now, and the world was developing nicely, except something was just a tiny bit wrong. Someone had been stealing from the Kingdom of Silverhunt. My shit basically kept going missing. Now, to steal from someone could be a big fat fucking crime. Our rules were clear. Stealing from someone was dishonorable, but not technically illegal as long as the person was online. To steal from someone who was offline was considered a big no-no, because how are you going to defend your own shit if you're not online? It seemed a little unfair. But if you were online and able to defend yourselves, yeah, I guess it was fair game to steal from someone. Still kind of dishonorable, though. And remember, this was before Minecraft Realms existed, so if my friends wanted to play on the world and I wasn't there, I'd have to leave my Xbox 360 on, like, all night, basically, so they could play and I'd just be AFK in a corner somewhere. I am seriously shocked my Xbox did not explode at any point or catch on fire. So if someone was stealing from me, they might be doing it when I'm not even there, when I'm AFK. That's against the rules. Don't do that. A meeting at the UN was called to find the filthy perpetrator. My own friend and civilian Austin, who lived in my country and was helping me build it up, had actually been taking from me this entire time. The absolute buffoon! the absolute traitor. Yeah, so basically Austin was banished from the kingdom of Silveron, never to return again for dishonoring his king. And he went to go find like a new home or something in the wild to conquer, I don't know. King Danny was alone yet again. And also, King Chad from High Noon had left at this point because of personal stuff going on in his life, so he did dip out of the map for a good 6 months at this time. Almost an entire real-life year had passed again, and King Danny was craving violence. Does anyone else think, like, King Danny's kind of crazy? Dude, shut up, he's gonna come kill us! Fearing the second world would reach the same fate as the first world, all of the other countries decided to band together and form an alliance to defeat me should I rise up and try to start another war. That's right, the mighty kingdoms of Raven and the Frost Realm decided to join forces. The nomad Aaron and the banished Austin also decided to join up with them. This meant that it was Danny versus Lord Grim, his servant Gage, King Ryan, the banished Austin, and Aaron. That's 5 people right there. In show business, we like to call that a typical 1 versus 5. And to make matters worse for King Danny, the Messiah had returned. After a hefty hiatus, King Chad of High Noon had returned to the world and built a palace in the sky, in the heavens, if you will, to spy on the world and keep track of everything. Hey Mom, I can see my house from here! Shocker alert, King Chad decided to join Lord Grim, because I think he was still a little bit bitter about what happened to him in the first world. He wanted revenge. So now in the math world, we call that a classic 1 versus 5, plus 1, equaling 6. Basically, 1 versus an entire fucking army. Fearing for his first ever loss, King Danny beefed up hard. I forged the strongest of armors available at the time, enchanted the shit out of them, and built the most legendary of all swords in the kingdom's world. My sword that would be by my side for the rest of all of the kingdom worlds. The Killer of Kings. Considering I painted my sword with the blood of my enemies in the first world, and I was gonna continue to kill all of the kings in this world, I thought the name was pretty suited. Honestly, at this point, I was so strong compared to my enemies that I was basically a god. And not just that, I built myself many pairs of armor and hid them across the map. I also built secret bunkers in the event that I did actually die and had to respawn and find my shit. I had bunkers located everywhere. If my kingdom was ever taken, I was always gonna have a safe spot to recalibrate and regroup. Listen, these bunkers were high tech. They had everything from security systems, farms, enchanting tables, the potion thingies, what do you call those? Chemistry sets, brewing stands, that's it. Anyway, apparently I hid my secret bunkers way too well because upon filming this, I was trying to find my old bunkers and could not find any of them. I spent 45 minutes just blowing up the underground of this world with TNT, trying to find any hint of them, and I don't know where I put them. I don't know where they're hidden. They were cool though, okay? You just gotta trust me. I had the armor sets, I had the weapons, and I had the protocols in place in case I did actually lose. I was ready for the war. Except one fateful night, King Ryan of Raven decided to bargain for his life, and he ran to me, begging to join my country. He didn't really want to be on the losing side again, and he thought I would actually win, again. He told me his allies' plans, and he even told me where they're hiding a secret fortress for all of them to store their weapons and build up their strength. He offered up all of his resources and surrendered the kingdom of Raven to the kingdom of Silveron. Nice, one kingdom out of the way, time to take the rest of the world. Also, this is my Master Sword prop. If you're wondering why it looks like shit, it's because I played fetch with a dog once at a house party, a costume party, and the dog chewed it up. I was drunk. You're a little snitch, Ryan. Shame on you. I mean, you helped me out, though, but you're still a little snitch, bitch. And then tragedy struck. While all of the allies were building up their strength in their not-so-secret anymore fort, Chad decided to egg me on one night. King Chad said there was no way I could take all of them right now at once. It was absolutely impossible. His allies were pleading for him to shut the fuck up. I was just potato farming at the time, trying to gather stocks of food in case of the eventual war. Like, Chad, buddy, I know what you're trying to do. Listen, I just want a potato farm right now. I'll kill you guys pretty soon. Don't worry. Chad then proceeded to call me a little bitch, which I took personally. I was like, all right, that's what you want. You're all gonna fucking die. I got my sword, put on my armor, and marched to their secret base. They tried to attack me, but they were not ready. All they had were stone swords and no armor. I murdered them all that night in cold blood. I didn't take any of their shit. I didn't blow up any of their shit. I didn't put them back at all progress-wise. I was just trying to teach them a well-learned lesson. Don't fuck with King Danny. I just spat. Chad was then banished from his alliance and forced to retreat to the heavens, never to be seen in the second world again. 2 enemies already down, it was now a 1 versus 4, which my odds were looking a lot better now. And then it happened. It was time. The day of the war had arrived. The Second Great War of Everworld was about to unfold and the entire continent was at stake. Lord Grim led an attack against my kingdom, but was quickly repelled and forced to retreat with his army back to his secret fort. When I got there, all I found was the banished Austin and the nomad Aaron standing guard. They had decent swords, but pitiful armor. I dealt with them quickly. Yeah! When they respawned and had nothing else to fight with, they surrendered and I took the fort. Lord Grim had retreated to his keep in the Frost Realms and his loyal friend Gage stood by his side. This was it. The final push to conquering the second world. When I approached the keep, I was just met by Gage wearing Lord Grim's armor and sword. I was kind of confused of where Lord Grim was, but the lonely Gage stood alone.
Where's your master?
I called out. He's evacuated his people to safety and he himself has joined them. They're sailing to a new, safer world from you. This isn't actually what happened. Basically, Lord Grim, aka my friend Aiden, had to take a call from his girlfriend in real life, so he couldn't really fight at the time. So he sent Gage out with all of his best stuff to try to defeat me on his own. Gage put up a good fight, but was ultimately slain by the killer of kings, King Danny. It was now decided that Lord Grim would surrender. He was alone with no armor, no weapons anymore, and he'd already lost all of his allies in the war, so there was really no point in continuing fighting. He was gonna lose. It was a losing battle. I had done it. I had conquered a second world. The second continent was now under my control. The odds were stacked against me, but I still came out on top. I had once again murdered all my friends in my war prowl, except for Lord Grim, who had escaped. And so the second age of Everworld had come to an end. It had taken another real-life year to get this far, but another continent was now under my control. I wasn't satisfied, though. Lord Grim had escaped to a new land in Everworld, and I would follow him with every ship at my command. I would not stop until every piece of Everworld was mine. And so the third age of Everworld was about to begin. And the third age of Everworld is the weirdest story of them all. It's by far the most controversial era in our little kingdom's world. The first two worlds had both lasted a year each, but the third world only lasted 3 months before it collapsed. So join me in the next video to find out exactly what happened and what caused this disaster. Can I keep up my winning streak? I don't know, find out in the next episode of Dragon Ball Z or some shit. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you got this far, I take it you're interested in the story, which makes me really happy, so thanks for listening. I hope it's enjoyable to listen to me being a huge fucking nerd for like 10 minutes plus at a time. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you ever have any questions about any part of our little kingdom story, any little detail, anything at all, just ask in the comments and I will try to answer if I can. But yeah, and of course, thank you to my patrons. As always, I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me. I hope you all have the best day. This is Danny Dinosaur signing off. Till the next story. See you next time. Bye-bye.